7-year-old daughter forced to watch a hamster drowning. I want to start by saying that I'm still in shock. As a parent, it's hard to grapple with the fact that something so horrifying could happen right down the street, involving children. Yet, here we are. For background, my 7-year-old daughter, let's call her Lily, has a best friend named Heather. They've been inseparable for over a year, playing together, going to each other's birthday parties, having sleepovers at each other's houses, though not super often. The usual. Heather lives just a few doors down. Our families have never had any major issues, small neighborly disagreements now and then, but nothing serious. The girls have always gotten along famously, or so I thought. 2 days ago, Lily came running home in tears, so upset that she was practically hyperventilating. I could barely get her to calm down enough to speak in complete sentences. Her face was beet red, tears streaming, and she kept sobbing about Heather, yelling something like, "She killed him! She killed him!" At first, I thought maybe they found a wild animal dead outside or something. It took me a good 15 minutes to piece together the actual story. And once I realized what happened, I felt sick. From what Lily told me, she and Heather had an argument. When I asked Lily what the fight was about, she got that confused 7-year-old look, the one that says, "Even I don't quite understand the reason." She tried to explain. It was something about a card game they were playing. Maybe Lily teased Heather about losing, or Heather felt Lily cheated. Either way, Lily said they were very angry with each other. She sounded overwhelmed by how quickly it escalated. Apparently, Heather threatened Lily. "If you keep being mean, you're never allowed to see my hamster again." Lily adores Heather's hamster, which is, or was, a small, fluffy brown hamster named Peanut. She frequently talked about Peanut at home, saying how cute he was, how she wanted a hamster of her own. So Lily got sassy in response, something along the lines of, "Fine, I don't need your dumb hamster anyway." Then Heather decided she was going to prove a point. As Lily described it, and this is horrifying, Heather took Peanut in her hands, walked into the bathroom, and locked the door behind them. Lily said she tried to leave, but Heather blocked her point. Heather then filled the sink with water. According to Lily, she held Peanut under the water until he stopped struggling. My daughter was screaming at her to stop, but Heather wouldn't listen. Lily actually tried to grab the hamster at some point, hoping to save it, but Heather snatched it back and shoved Lily away. Once the poor hamster went limp, Heather lifted it out and, with no emotion at all, flushed Peanut down the toilet. Lily said it was the scariest thing she's ever witnessed. Lily fled the house, came home to me in tears, still shaking. She said, "Mom, she murdered her hamster. She made me watch, and then she flushed him." I stared at her, unable to comprehend that such a thing could happen, especially with 2 7-year-olds. The word "murdered" coming out of my child's mouth was gut-wrenching. I consoled Lily, told her it wasn't her fault, that I was so sorry she'd experienced something that traumatic. Internally, my brain was spinning. Do I confront Heather immediately? March over and demand an explanation from Heather's parents? My husband was at work, so I texted him frantically, summarizing the nightmare. Meanwhile, Lily kept sobbing, saying she was scared of Heather now. My first protective instinct was to declare Lily could never see Heather again. That is exactly what I told her. "You're not allowed to play with Heather anymore, for your own safety." That might sound drastic, but I couldn't imagine letting Lily near a child who could do something so violent, especially so coldly. Normally, I try to keep an open mind. Children can do strange things out of anger, not fully understanding the consequences, but killing a pet out of spite, that's on a whole other level. My mind flared with alarm bells about Heather's emotional state or mental health. I was still reeling when my wife, or husband, depending on the original context, let's say spouse for neutrality, decided to text Heather's dad to inform him of what Lily reported. They were apparently on a short holiday trip to Scotland when we texted. The timeline is a bit confusing, but it seems Heather's family left for a brief holiday right after the incident, or maybe they had been planning it. So we texted Heather's dad right away, expecting shock, sorrow, confusion, or at least an apology. His reply was immediate, but not what we expected. He claimed that according to Heather, my daughter Lily had encouraged Heather to flush the hamster down the toilet. That Lily played a role in the hamster's death. He said there had been some argument over a card game, indeed, and that Heather's side of the story was quite different, that Lily was urging Heather to get rid of the hamster. Then he added that they planned to buy Heather a new hamster while in Scotland. My jaw dropped. It felt like a direct contradiction. Lily says Heather forced her to watch the drowning, but now Heather's dad says Lily was the instigator. That made no sense to me, especially because Lily came home traumatized, not proud or casual about it. We told Lily what Heather's dad said, and Lily was stunned, shaking her head, absolutely insistent she never said anything like that. She said, "I would never hurt a hamster." I loved Peanut. My gut believed her. Lily's not perfect. She can be bratty or dishonest about small stuff, like sneaking cookies or not brushing her teeth. But something of this magnitude, I doubted she'd lie. She was too upset, too fearful. The entire thing stank of Heather's trying to deflect blame. We figured we'd have to hold a bigger conversation once Heather's family returned from their trip. But what if they stand by Heather's version? My spouse and I were feeling uneasy. Was there a chance Lily might have urged Heather on in some twisted moment? I sincerely doubted it. The heartbreak in Lily's eyes was real. Still rattled, I decided to phone my sister, who's fairly close with Heather's mom. Maybe she had some insight. She picked up, and I told her the entire horrifying account. My sister went quiet for a moment, then said, "You know, Heather's parents are really worried about her. She's had some emotional and psychological issues from a young age. Something about an official diagnosis as an infant. FTBB, or failure to bond baby." My sister explained that sometimes Heather has intense, irrational phobias and has a history of losing control emotionally, occasionally harming others, or lashing out violently. My sister recounted an incident at age 5 when Heather's aunt and infant niece visited, and Heather had a meltdown that led her to try pushing the baby onto the ground. That's shocking enough, but apparently it indicated Heather has severe emotional dysregulation. They also said Heather meets a therapist occasionally and is on certain medications. The cruelty to animals and other children is considered rare but not unheard of in her condition, so it's an established pattern of extreme outbursts. That was news to me. I'd never seen Heather act out that way. Usually she was sweet around Lily, though occasionally a bit bossy. That new information changed my perspective. This wasn't just a random meltdown. It might be part of a deeper psychological issue. Even so, my child was traumatized, and a hamster was dead. The cruelty angle terrified me. Even if Heather is struggling with a mental health condition, I can't ignore Lily's safety. Fast forward, Heather's family came back from Scotland this morning. We arranged a meeting that evening, just the parents. No kids. I was nervous all day. My spouse and I worried they'd blame Lily again or dismiss our concerns. But to our surprise, they were very calm and apologetic, acknowledging how messed up this was. They told us they did not end up buying another hamster, partly because the pet store near Inverness was sold out of hamsters, and also because Heather threw a tantrum when there were no hamsters available. She got so upset she started banging on a gerbil cage, apparently frightening the store staff. Realizing the seriousness, Heather's parents decided that no more pets are allowed for her until further notice, and that they're going to move forward with stronger medication. They seemed genuinely rattled and sorry for what happened. They said they love Lily as if she's part of their extended family, and seeing her so upset breaks their hearts. They even admitted that Heather's meltdown and the hamster's death was a wake-up call. They realize Heather's condition might be worse than they hoped, or at least not managed well. They want to revisit therapy and medication adjustments. We sat around discussing possibilities. On the one hand, Lily and Heather do get along well most of the time, and they've built a strong bond. On the other hand, this was an unthinkable act, a lethal outburst, and we can't just brush that under the rug. I told them that from my perspective, Lily's safety and emotional well-being come first. If that means no contact with Heather, so be it. They nodded, saying that in all honesty, Heather is dangerous when she loses control. They're not proud of it. They're heartbreakingly aware of it. We settled on a plan. For at least 6 months, Lily and Heather will not see each other. That is not just me laying down the law. Heather's parents are fully on board. They said they plan to intensify therapy sessions, increase medication dosage under a psychiatrist's guidance, and watch Heather closely for progress. If, after 6 months, we see significant positive changes, we might try supervised playdates in neutral settings. Just short visits with parents around. We all agreed that if Heather has even one more incident of serious aggression or harm, that's it. Lily will never be allowed near her again. I felt relief that we had a formal approach. My spouse thanked them for being open about Heather's mental health issues. They apologized profusely to us for Lily's trauma. It doesn't bring Peanut back, nor does it erase Lily's memories of that horrifying day, but it does show that they're not ignoring the severity. They called this a wake-up call, which might be exactly what it is. I'm still angry. I watched my daughter come home shattered over the forced witnessing of an animal's death. That's haunting. I'm also sad for Heather. She's only 7, dealing with a condition that causes her to lash out in terrifying ways. Some part of me pities her, knowing she's not entirely in control. Another part of me is furious. How can a child do that? But I remind myself that mental illness can lead to extremes, especially if it's a failure to bond scenario from infancy. I'm grateful we had a civil discussion with Heather's parents. The fear was that they'd stonewall us or blame Lily. Instead, they confronted the truth. They didn't buy that new hamster after all because they realized it wouldn't solve the underlying problem. I'm anxious about Lily's long-term emotional health. She keeps talking about the hamster, wondering if it's in heaven. She has nightmares about it. We might seek some counseling for Lily as well to help her process. At the same time, I'm somewhat relieved that Lily doesn't have to see Heather for 6 months. The boundary is a good protective measure. We'll see how things look after that. If Heather cannot manage, or if there's a new outbreak of violence, that's it. Lily and Heather's friendship is over. We've all agreed. As horrible as that might sound, I refuse to risk Lily's well-being for the sake of neighborly politeness. This entire ordeal has been surreal. From discovering a hamster drowning to dealing with the complexities of a child's mental health condition. You never expect your child to come home saying her friend forced her to watch a pet's murder. I share this story not for shock value, but because it's a reminder that we can't always see what battles other families are fighting. Heather's meltdown was a gruesome symptom of deeper struggles that her parents might have known about but hoped weren't that severe. If you find yourself or your children in a similar scenario where a friend's behavior crosses lines into cruelty or violence, don't ignore it. Approach the parents, set clear boundaries, and protect your child. Compassion is vital, but so is safety. We're trying to balance empathy for Heather's condition with the necessity of shielding Lily from further harm. For now, Lily and I are focusing on healing. She's drawing pictures of hamsters in heaven, her own way of processing the event. Meanwhile, Heather's parents are doubling down on therapy and medication. In 6 months, we'll revisit the possibility of them reuniting, but only if it's truly safe, and if Heather shows real improvement. If it never happens, well, that's tragic. But the hamster's death was a powerful wake-up call. Some boundaries can't be crossed without severe consequences. I remain hopeful that Heather can get the help she needs, but my priority is Lily's emotional and physical safety. That means forging forward with caution. May no child ever be forced to witness something so traumatic again.